Good morning everybody, we are back with another video and today we are going to be discussing our next primordial goddess who is called Ananke. Now she is the primordial goddess of necessity, compulsion and inevitability. In the Orphic cosmology, she emerged self-formed at the dawn of creation, incorporeal and serpentine, and a serpentine being whose outstretched arms, my goodness, that was a hard one, encompass the breadth of the cosmos. Ananke and her mate Kronos had their serpentine coils entwined and crushed the primal egg of creation, splitting it into the constituent parts of the earth, heaven and sea that would in turn form the ordered universe. After their act of creation, Ananke and Kronos encircled the cosmos to drive the rotations of the heavens and the eternal passage of time. They were beyond the reach of the younger gods, whose fates were sometimes said to control. Now, possibly the only ancient representation of this goddess is the torch-bearing winged figure. Is a winged figure. Like with many other primordials, you have to really go through a lot of the myths to find her in it. So, in the first myth that I found her in is in the Orphic cosmology, and it reads: originally there was hydros, water, and mud, from which Gaia solidified. Now these are the first two principles, water and earth. The one before the two, creation, however, he leaves unexpressed. His very silence being of an ineffable nature. The third principle, Kronos or time, came after Gaia and Hydros, and was the serpent. And was a serpent with extra heads, drawing upon it a bull and a lion, and a god's countenance in the middle. It had wings upon its shoulders, and the name was Kronos, but also Hercules. And united with it was Ananke, being of the same nature, her arms extended throughout the universe, and touching its extremities, symbolizing the universal generative cause. Now, some parts have been discarded as the various cosmologies and theologies came into being. And in this next one it says, the world began in the likeness of an egg, and the wind entwined forms of Kronos and Ananke encircling the egg, serpent fashioned like a wreath or a bout, then began to constrict nature. As it tried to squeeze all the matter with greater force, it divided the world into the two hemispheres, and after that the atoms sorted themselves out, the lighter and finer ones in the universe floating above and becoming the bright air or ether, and the most rarefied wind, while the heaviest and dirtiest have veered down between the earth, both the dry land and the fluid waters. And the atoms move by themselves and through themselves within the revolution of the sky and stars, everything still being driven by the serpentine winds of Kronos and Ananke. Then in this one it says, firstly ancient Kronos, stern Ananke, and Kronos, who bred within boundless coils ether, and two-sexed, two-faced, glorious Eros, ever-born Nyx's father, whom later men called Phanes, for he was first manifested. Then in this myth that I've also found her in, it says, there is a law of stern Ananke, the immemorial audience of the gods, made fast forever, bravely sworn and sealed, should any daemon, spirit or god, born to enduring life, be fouled with the sin of slaughter or transgressed by disputation, prejudiced and forsworn, 3 times 10,000 years, that soul shall wander an outcast, condemned to mortal being, and in diverse shapes with interchange of hardship go his way. The heavens force him headlong to the sea, and vomited from the sea, dry land receives him, but flings him unwanted to the burning sun. From there to the heavenly vortex backward thrown, he makes from host to host, by all aboard. So I guess this is where you can see how Ananke determines fates of men. Then in this one you've got, and there were another 3 who sat around at an equal intervals, each one on her throne, the Morai, daughters of Ananke, clad in white vestments, with filleted heads, Lakesi and Clotho, and Otropos, who sang in unison with the music. Lakeshi singing the things that were, Clotho the things that are, and Otropos the things that are to be. So that is in relation to the fates. So the first fate will always tell you how things are. The second one will tell you where things are, where things were, where things are, and the last one will be things that are yet to be. And then I also found these little bits of mythology as well about Ananke. So this one came from a Greek historian from the 5th century BC, who gave the understanding to the Athenians of what had come to the great gods to aid them. Persuasion and Ananke, and that the Angerians must therefore certainly give money. They said in response, it is then but reasonable that Athens is great and prosperous, being blessed with serviceable gods. As for us, Andrians, we are but blessed with a plentiful lack of land, and we have 2 unserviceable gods, who never quit our land but want to dwell there forever, namely poverty and helplessness. Since we are in the hands of these gods, we will give no money. The power of Athens can never be stronger than our inability. And then she also came up in this one. Men serve no harsher mistress than Ananke, who drives me now and force me to come here at another king's behest. Remember Ananke being the goddess of necessity. And then Ananke is a great goddess. It is not I who refuse. And then in this one, it is all the bitter things which the wreathed spindle of the appointed Ananke has spun for your fate, if the threads of the Morai ever obey. And then in this one it says, Ananke is a great god, where will you flee? And then with Ananke, not even gods fight. And this one says, see how all-wise Ananke taught him to find an escape from Hades. And a proverb, the gods do not fight against Ananke. It recommends that one should be satisfied with what is available. Now it was a cult of Ananke that I was able to find a mention of. And it's from the 2nd century AD. And it is from the Acropolis, but also from Corinth. There is apparently a sanctuary of Ananke and Bai, which is force, into which it is not customary to enter. So that was the only little snippet I could find in relation to a cult of Ananke. So when you're reading through the mythology, she is a part of daily life, because necessity is a part of daily life. We do have things that are that we need to do, hence that are necessary for us to survive. So she is that goddess who personifies all of that. So there were a few other ones where I saw snippets of in relation to into Troy, in regards to when the Athenian king needed to secure the winds to sail across the oceans to Troy to conduct his war, and the sacrifices he had to make to appease the goddess, as well as because there was another goddess in that myth as well, but I can't remember it off the top of my head now. But that she does pop up quite a bit, and one that even the gods themselves would not refuse. So she was, in that regard, she's very, very powerful. So that's just a little bit about this primordial goddess. We'll be back next week with another video. I hope everybody has a great day. We'll chat soon. Bye.